Hello there, Xbox Ahoy here with episode 20 of my Modern Warfare 2 weapon guides. In this episode we're going to take a look at the Striker, the third available shotgun. The Striker is a semi-automatic weapon unlocked at level 34. Essentially a shotgun revolver with a clockwork-driven cylinder, the Striker was originally designed in what was Rhodesia and found its initial commercial success upon its introduction in South Africa. The original design, known as the Armcell Striker, was drafted in the early 1980s. An improved iteration known as the Protector was developed later, and there were some foreign clones and licensed copies manufactured, such as the Sentinel Arms Striker 12 and the Cobra Street Sweeper. The Striker fires standard 12-gauge shotgun cartridges. In-game, the Striker has good range but poor damage when compared to the other shotguns. It fires only 6 pellets per shot, unlike the 8 fired by most other shotguns, Ranger and Masterkey excluded. The low damage is made up for by a generous cylinder size, 12 rounds, and a healthy rate of fire, capable of up to about 300 rounds per minute if you can pull the trigger fast enough. The range is only bettered by the Spaz 12, Single 1887 and the Masterkey attachment, and although low, the damage is more consistent than most shotguns. The Striker will kill in one shot at point-blank range, but for the majority of its effective range you'll need to get more than one shot on target. With a quick trigger finger, this usually isn't too much of an issue. The first attachment unlock is the red dot sight. Generally speaking, you're better off not aiming down the sights with the shotguns, so any optical attachments are useless. The same is true of the holographic sight. I've heard rumours it increases effective range, but I've never noticed any difference, nor had anything resembling confirmation of this theory. The Striker is one of the more effective shotguns when silenced. The range drop-off is minimal, and while generally you will need more shots to kill, the difference isn't as stark as it is with some of the other shotguns. If you want a silenced weapon capable of effectively dispatching larger groups of enemies in close quarters, the silenced Striker is probably the best fit. The grip reduces recoil and slightly improves draw time for the Striker, both of which are useful. The lower recoil helps somewhat when firing multiple shots on a target, and a quicker draw time helps when using the Striker as a close-range backup with a weapon suited for long-range use. FMJ gives you marginally better penetration through cover, but this isn't terribly important for effective use of the shotgun, so there's little point in using it. Finally, the last attachment available is the extended magazines, giving you 18 rounds in the cylinder instead of the default 12. This is probably one of the more useful attachments, as you'll discover if you use the Striker for any extended period of time. The reload speed is terribly slow, so having a few extra rounds at your disposal is welcome. Overall, I'd recommend the grip for the faster draw speed or extended magazines to remove the need to reload as often, depending on how you plan on using the Striker. If you're effectively using the Striker as your primary weapon, the most effective blue perk would be Marathon, as the closer you are to the enemy, the more effective the Striker will be. If you're using it as a secondary for anticipated close-quarter engagements, I'd recommend Sleight of Hand to speed up the otherwise lethargic reload. Cartridges are inserted individually, and the process is lengthy if you've depleted the cylinder entirely. I'd recommend refilling the cylinder whenever you're in a relatively safe position, even if you've only expended a few shots. If you get caught short during a reload, you'll need to cancel before you can fire. The quickest way to do this is to tap the weapon switch button twice quickly, or to sprint momentarily. For your red perk, I found stopping power to grant more reliable kills. While lightweight helps you get closer to the enemy, the Striker will be much less effective. In my experience, 40% increase in damage trumps 7% faster movement speed. Steady Aim is a good third tier perk to tighten up your hipfire crosshairs, but you have to be more careful in your shot placement. Ninja is a good perk if you wish to take a stealthier approach and sneak up behind people undetected. I was playing a lot of free-for-all with the Striker, and an increasingly popular tactic is to play defensively and rely on claymores. Because of this, Sitrep is a useful third perk as you'll be given an indication of where players are located, and be given prior warning of claymores. Sitrep Pro also increases enemy footstep volume, but it will take some time and effort to unlock. The primary strength of the Striker is the fine ability to control the rate of fire to suit the engagement exactly. Rather than spraying indiscriminately with the AA-12, you are able to target multiple enemies with precision shots. This makes it deadly in serial engagements against groups of enemies, great in maps like Vacant or Skid Row where tight corridors are common. It's not the most powerful shotgun, nor does it have the longest reach, but the Striker is a balanced weapon, with a quick semi-automatic fire putting it in a similar category to the M1014. The M1014 is more powerful, but the Striker has a much larger magazine, meaning larger groups of enemies can be taken out without reloading. It's also unusual in that the silencer doesn't decrease its effectiveness too much. It's probably the most effective silenced shotgun available. The Striker is a well-rounded shotgun that can provide an able close-quarter backup to a long-range primary. With good shot placement and timing, the Striker can tear through unsuspecting groups of enemies without giving them a chance to fight back. Thanks for watching. This has been Xbox Ahoy. Join me next time when I'll be covering the third SMG, the Vector. Farewell for now.